Mike Vrabel has been fired by the Tennessee Titans, the head coach of the team, 6 seasons, number 1 seed a couple of years ago, PFT Coach of the Year in 2021. Not that that really matters, but he did get a ham. He's the one that started this trend of us buying gifts for the people who win these awards, which I'm suspending this year, by the way. It got too damn expensive. The recognition alone is going to have to suffice. Unless and until Vrabel wins it again, then we will get him that ham. But first, he's got to get another job. And he shouldn't have any trouble. This is a phrase that our friend Big Cat coined years ago when he was doing Fridays on PFT Live. Dysfunctional teams do dysfunctional things. Now, I may have come up with it before he was on PFT Live and said it, but as far as I'm concerned, that's the first time it was ever said. Because once I heard it, it's so perfect. It encapsulates what happens with some of these teams. They don't know what they don't know. They don't know that they're driving the organization off a cliff. They think they're right where they need to be. They don't do normal things. They don't do predictable things. They don't do rational things. And Amy Adams-Strunk has been in charge of this team for a decade now. And I've leveled this criticism against guys like Jim Irsay. Your only qualification is you had the right DNA code to inherit the team when your parent, spouse, sibling, whoever died. In this case, it was Bud Adams, the founder of the Titans, died in 2013. And his own estate planning created a mess that simmered and almost boiled for years because he didn't direct which branch of his family tree, and there were 3 of them, would take control of the team. Split up the equity 33% each way, but no one was given control. And the NFL insists that every team have one person at all time who can cast votes on behalf of the franchise when it's time to vote on league matters. And they actually changed the rules in part because of the mess in Tennessee. You have to have a succession plan in place every year with one person named as the person who takes over if you die during the course of the upcoming year. So they don't have this situation again. Now, it didn't become as big of a mess as it could have been for the Titans, and Amy Adams-Strunk emerged as the owner. But along the way, look what happened. Mike Munchak was fired at the end of the season that concluded the year that Bud Adams passed. Then came Ken Wisenhunt. A couple of years later, he's out. Then came Mike Mularkey. A couple of years later, he's out. They got it right with Mike Vrabel. They got a keeper with Mike Vrabel. He's 48. He's going to coach many more years into the future. And they should have found a way to keep him. They should have found a way to work with him. This gets back to the things I say about Jim Harbaugh. Shame on the 49ers for not making it work with Harbaugh, because they would have won at least one Super Bowl championship between 2014 and now if they hadn't fired him. They called it a mutual parting, and he quickly said, they fired me. So sometimes you don't realize what you have. And sometimes you're not willing to work with what you have because maybe the guy's a little too rough around the edges. And Vrabel has no patience for anyone who says anything other than what he believes. So maybe things got a little hectic. Maybe there were too many fights. Maybe there were too many squabbles. Maybe they're looking at Vrabel saying he can't get along with anyone. When the reality is Vrabel's been expected to work with front office personnel who don't see it the way he sees it and have bad ideas and make bad arguments and do things like draft quarterback Malik Willis when Vrabel seemed to not be all that interested in adding a quarterback at the time, specifically that quarterback at that time. Creating receiver A.J. Brown. We've played that video time and again of Vrabel getting up and stretching his neck out a little bit and trying not to blow a gasket when A.J. Brown got traded, and they used that first-round pick for another receiver instead of just keeping the guy they had and paying the guy they had. And in hindsight, they clearly should have done that. So the Titans are taking a risk here that they're not going to find anyone better. And if it doesn't work out, they'll just fire the next one. If that doesn't work out, they'll fire the next one. But anytime you fire a coach, part of the analysis is, do I believe I am going to get someone better than the guy I have? And you can't come to that conclusion with any degree of certainty. If you're talking about rising coordinators, offensive or defensive, nobody knows what kind of coach they're going to be until they coach. They might be good. They might not be good. It's a completely different skill set. Completely different. How do you delegate? How do you deal with the media? How do you make big picture decisions? How do you handle yourself on the sideline during games? When it's time to go for 2, when it's time to punt or go for it on 4th down, all the decisions you have to make with all the factors taken into consideration and listening to the analytics people telling you what you should do, at least based upon their models. their models reach a point where reality has to take over. And it's the experience and the knowledge and the wisdom and the instincts of that coach who have to make the decisions. When you have somebody who can do it, you better be sure you're going to get somebody else who can do it as well, or preferably better. And unless they're going to get Jim Harbaugh, and even then, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, I think they'd have been better off sticking with Vrabel. Unless they think they're going to get Bill Belichick. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Well, Belichick, much more accomplished. But if you'd have given Mike Vrabel Tom Brady at age 22, who knows what the Titans would have done over the next 20 years. So, again, dysfunctional teams do dysfunctional things. And there's plenty of reason to look at the Titans and say, this team is dysfunctional. As a football team, not as a business proposition, they finagled a bunch of free money to build a new stadium. Okay, as a business concern, every NFL owner is a genius. They're all printing money. As a football operation, there are the owners who get it and the owners who don't. And the owners who get it like having 10 to 12 to 15 owners who don't, who make bad decisions, who are too quick to fire coaches, who don't value continuity and stability and just ricochet around from bad decision to bad decision to bad decision and wonder why they can't get what they want. So that's my assessment of the Titans side of it. Now for Vrabel, look, I've said this Monday, I said it Tuesday, I'm going to say it again in case anybody out there hasn't heard it. July 4th, one of the first emails I got that morning, happy 4th of July, by the way, watch Mike Vrabel be the next coach of the Patriots. And it makes sense, and it's a hell of a year to make him part of the Patriots Hall of Fame. But it's bringing Mike Vrabel home. And now that he's available, now that the Titans didn't play it out, that the Titans didn't exercise patience, the Titans didn't stand up to the circumstances, because even if Vrabel didn't come out and say, I want out, I mean, you can convey a lot of things without ever having the thought come out of your mouth. And Vrabel has that very demonstrative physique, just like I said earlier with the A.J. Brown thing, but he's got those long arms. And you know how he stands during games when he's like, I mean, he sends a lot of messages with his demeanor, his facial expressions, and his body language. So he never even had to say, I want out, for Amy Adams Strunk to get the sense, you know, this guy probably wants out. If he wants out, there's no point trying to make this work. And if he wants out and he wants out now, let's just be done with this. It's too hard to try to work this out, to try to finagle behind the scenes who our coach is going to be while we wait for the Patriots to call and then maybe get a first-round pick or more for Mike Vrabel. It's going to be too difficult. We might step in something brown and smelly. And, you know, we got lucky with the whole ownership succession fiasco, and the NFL could have made it a lot harder for us, and they didn't. Let's not test it. Let's not tempt them. Let's not give them any reason to say we did anything that we shouldn't have done. Because if you figure out who your next coach is going to be while you still have your current one, you're kind of violating the letter and spirit of the Rooney Rule. If you've already made your decision before you even fire the guy you have, that's a problem. So my guess is Amy Adams Strunk just didn't have the stomach for what it would take to kind of, you know, hold the stick, right? On an airplane, is it a stick, like an old fighter jet? Like you got to hold the stick steady while you're going through some rocky times, and you just got to have faith you're going to hold it steady through the wind and the rain and the hail and whatever else might pellet your plane. She just didn't want to bother with it. Let's just move on. It's not worth it. Whatever we would have gotten on the other side, it's not worth the worry and the stress and the risk that it's going to blow up in our faces and make us look worse on the back end. So that's the Titans side. Vrabel. Patriots. Makes sense. Now, my only hesitation is this. He's good friends with Bill Belichick, played for Bill Belichick. You know, if you've got a really great friend and that friend's got a girlfriend and the friend gets broken up with by the girlfriend, do you immediately swoop in? Don't you feel bad if you do that? Have you ever been in that situation? Well, whatever relationship you're talking about. But when you've got a good friend that's invested with a significant other, and then that significant other says to your friend, get out of my face, and you've got some sparks, you've got some chemistry, do you swoop right in? Do you feel guilty about it when you do? I got to think at some level Mike Vrabel feels guilty about the possibility of swooping in as the Patriots head coach with Bill Belichick getting fired, unless Belichick firmly says to him, do what you got to do. I'd rather you have it than somebody else. I'd rather you come take up the cause that I fought for 24 years. And I kind of had a weird idea earlier. Would there be a situation where Belichick could recruit Vrabel to come in as defensive coordinator, bring back Josh McDaniels as offensive coordinator, go to Robert Kraft and say, hire a GM, I'll go along with whatever decisions they make, I'll just coach whoever we have. I'll just cook the meal, someone else can shop for the groceries, to make a twist on the old Bill Parcells line. And I got Vrabel here, and Vrabel takes over when I'm done. How about that? And I'll stay for 3 or 4 years, and then Vrabel's here, and it's a smooth. Everybody's happy, and we all join hands. Kraft and Belichick and Vrabel, and we put our hands up like this, we take a bow, and then Vrabel. That would be cleaner, but it also delays by 3 years Vrabel's ability to coach the team. I'm just not sure he would be into that. Now, is that preferable to going and coaching another team? Because this is his chance to go coach the Patriots. You can't assume that the next time you're available, the Patriots' job is also going to be available. This is the moment if he's going to go coach the Patriots. So I think we have to watch that now. And who knows? Maybe the availability of Mike Vrabel, and just at some level, the protectiveness that Bill Belichick might have, that maybe he deep down doesn't want Vrabel to come be the Patriots coach. Maybe that's what gets Belichick to say, I'll do whatever you want. I'll do whatever you want. Whatever you want. I just want to coach the team. Do whatever you want. You want to make changes? Make changes. You want to expand the staff? Expand the staff. You want me to trust people? I'll trust anybody you bring in here. But I want to stay as the coach. I'll do whatever I have to do to stay as the coach. I think that if Belichick was already going to bend, he would have bet by now. And I don't think the availability of Vrabel and the possibility that Vrabel takes over as coach of the Patriots after Belichick is going to be enough to get Belichick to bend. That's kind of the big mystery right now. Is there anything Belichick can do to get Robert Kraft to not jump out of the plane? I've been using that metaphor or simile. I'm not sure which word is correct, but the idea of Kraft being in the plane and the plane goes up and he's got the parachute on and now he's at the door, and is he going to jump? He's at the door. And Belichick is flying the plane, yelling back over his shoulder, well, go ahead and do it. Go on, dumbass, and do it. That was a line from a Christmas Story, I think. We're out of season, but still, those ideas kind of pop around in my brain from time to time. I just don't know that Kraft is going to do it. And the unexpected immediate availability of Vrabel is a factor that makes the Kraft, Belichick, Patriots situation a little more interesting. So interesting that, I just got to check my phone and make sure that something hasn't happened in the past 15 minutes since we started this.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.